durian also can. Is that your question? Is it appropriate?
Yeah.
Oh yes, of course. Just think for yourself, during the Buddha's time, did they have oranges then? Yeah, they were still trying to discover them in Spain. Alright? So it is not the actual fruit or the actual object, not just for fruits, even flowers, whatever. It is not what you offer. Alright? Traditionally, because of the Indian tradition, fruits and flowers. Why fruits? Fruits because they don't harm any animals. Alright? When Indians in those days, even today, in the Hindu tradition, when they have retired from family life, they go into the jungle and live off fruits. The Buddha, many times, a lovely little story, only yesterday I heard about it, I was reminded of it. The Buddha was angry. The Buddha was, what is it? Well, okay, the Buddha wanted to teach a lesson. There were these Kosambi monks. They have a terrible reputation. You think our politics is bad? Huh? These monks were always fighting among themselves. Sometimes the Buddha couldn't take it anymore. The Buddha just left them and went to live in the forest for 3 months. Alright? And in those 3 months, these monks, all again to do with puja, these people come to the temple to see the Buddha, give him dana, give everything. When the Buddha left and they came, they saw no Buddha, they took their puja back. And they told the monks, because of you, we don't get to see the Buddha. It's a very important lesson there, you see, that there is a link between us and monks. We owe them something, they owe us something in return. It's a two-way thing. But anyway, so these monks, because they were now, without the Buddha, they were suffering. So they went back to the temple, begged they said, we have learned our lesson, we won't do this again, please come back. Buddha came back, everything went back to normal. During that time, this is the connection with your question, during that time, an elephant called Parileya, the elephant and a monkey served the Buddha for 3 months. What did they serve? They didn't serve roast pork and fruits. And what were the fruits? The fruits that you get in the jungle in India, in northern India. So that practice of offering fruits is something harmless. That was, nobody had to make any sacrifice in order to give the fruit. So these fruits are then symbolically offered to the Buddha. Lights, water, basically lights, water, incense, and fruits. Okay? So what fruit does not matter. And also another thing, after that we eat the fruit. Once it has been offered, we eat it. Okay? So pineapples are okay. Apparently the Buddha was a little bit partial to mango. Because I think mango is not like here, you can get it in the roadside. Those days I think you had to wait for the season. Alright, and it was said that Buddha was partial to. These all commentary stories, yeah, this is not to do, you can't find it in the Pali canon.
So Uncle Vijaya, is that a term what you so call wholesome offering?
Yes, the wholesome offering does not take place in your hand. It takes place in your mind. Okay, together with that, there's this another beautiful story. The Buddha was going to give a talk, and there were hundreds of people who were assembled. It was getting dark, all right? And people in India, as we do now, oil lamps. They come and offer the oil lamp, all right? And so there were lots and lots of lights. There was this poor widow. She had nothing. She had no money. She had no oil. But she said, look, I have to give something to the Buddha, intention. So what she did was, I cannot demonstrate, but she cut her hair, she cut her hair, she sold her hair, for which she got the equivalent of 10 cents. With that, she went, bought, how much oil can you buy for 10 cents? But with a heart full of shraddha, with confidence, with faith, she brought this small little thing and said, Buddha, I don't have much to give you, but this I offer fullness. When she did that, all the lights, all the taukes that had given 10,000 lights to light up the place, all those lights dimmed. And this lady's was, I got a lump in my throat, I'm telling you this story. Her light alone was flourishing. What is the meaning behind that? It is the intention. And for her was a big sacrifice. The Tauke's 10,000 lights, he is nothing. He stole that money anyway. Okay. I don't know why I'm thinking of local politics. But you see the point? So it does not matter what you give. It's the intention with which you give. Which is why even now we don't object when people bring meat and offer meat. We don't say, no, you cannot. It's not the meat that's important. You want to give something. All right? And the intention has to be pure. The intention of dana. Any dana that you give must have that intention. Give the best that you can because you want to give it. Don't give it with the intention that you will have it back again, paid back to you in the next life. This is not a bargaining transaction. Okay? So, after this, eat it. Don't throw it away. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Uncle Vijaya, very often we wanted to donate something to good cause.
Yes. Right.
But then as you look around,
Yeah.
there are so many donations around. So many. Everybody is donating. Then is it okay for you to just go back the donation and I give this for another occasion where the temple will need it more? Is it okay?
Oh, yes. Again, back to the intention. And when you give wisely. This is very important. A lot of time in the car, I won't mention the details, but in the car, Penny and I were discussing that in Malaysia there seem to be a lot of people with too much money, and there seem to be a lot of monks with a lot of needs. Okay, and whether it is wise to simply support this in the Buddha never said give foolishly. So, in your case, you have established in your mind that this temple is not going to fall apart because of your donation. You feel your donation can go to a better place. Why not? Why not? You are not depriving this temple of anything. They already have enough. All right? Or the time will come when the temple needs the money, then you give it. Yeah. In the meantime, somebody needs it more. Why not? Why not? Go again back to intention. Are you punishing the temple? No. Yeah? But you have made the assessment in your rational mind. Yeah. There is no thing that you must give. There is no such thing in Buddhism. Okay.
In the end, you find that there's no occasion you give it. Because for every occasion, any Buddhist center asks for donation, there will be a lot of people giving. So if you were to reflect on that, for so many people giving, I think I'll go back one.
Yeah.
Then maybe for months you will be giving that. Are you able to give any donation to any other center?
Yeah, but you see, what is the quotation from the Mangala? To be born in a suitable location that is the highest blessing. Yeah? What does that mean? We in Malaysia qualify. Even during COVID, we really did not suffer the way they are suffering in Pakistan, in Afghanistan, in Africa. We've never known that kind of suffering. Maybe during the Japanese time also had ubi kayu. Okay, so in Malaysia we are, because of our karma, we are born in a very suitable location. We have enough money to spare. All right, but not everywhere in the world is like that. There are many places which need, and Buddhists in Bangladesh, for example, Buddhists in Bangladesh are very, very poor. Yeah, a monk to get a robe is a big thing today. So when you said there are places which don't need, no, that's not true. The whole world, if you look at globally, there are many, if you want to be narrow-minded about it, there are many Buddhists who need your help, not necessarily in Malaysia, but certainly all over the world. Okay? So that is one lot you can help. But why are you limiting to Buddhists alone? There are hungry Christians, there are hungry Muslims. So your dana should extend to them as well. Jangan pilih kasih.
Uncle Vijaya, so our Dhamma, we should extend to those in other countries.
Those in need, full stop.
You have the next question? Maybe
Yeah, no problem.
This one is regarding the first precept, household pets.
No killing, yeah.
Yeah, but no matter how you put violence, you put this, that, somehow under you will find lizard ants in the house. Now, for me, normally what I do, lizard, I will spray them unconsciously. Then throw it out. But ants, it comes the kitchen area, how you clean, sure somehow or other, sometimes ants want.
You sound like my wife, lah. Yeah.
So, on impulse, just write it out. Okay? Clean already.
Yes.
But then, you leave it, how? Will be there? When you go off.
It is a question very much, this is a very old question, it's a very difficult question. It is a question that is asked because of our civilization. You know, we have become so successful that we have come into them, we have got all crazy ideas of what is healthy, yeah, what is a pet, what is a pest, you know, it's all mixed up. And for us, an ant is dirty, a cockroach is dirty, a lizard is dirty. We never asked ourselves what those animals think of us. Who is the biggest pest? Who is really the biggest? Really, we should go around. They should spray us. I mean, it's a fact. We have polluted the world. And look at what their plastics has done, etc., etc., etc. So before you find them, yeah, you have to look at yourself. 1, 2, but don't try and get rid of them completely. Reduce to a minimum. I mean, we even have names for our lizards. There's Lizzie. Lizzie is lizard. At exactly 9 o'clock when we have guests, the Lizzie will come and say, okay? And then people, my daughter included, that's okay, that's Lizzie. Then there's a rat. And he comes from the back, he goes right, and he goes up. Okay lah. But if it becomes a nuisance, that as they do, then I have my personal. A Reverend Agachita, for example, will say, no. No killing is no killing is no killing. Whatever excuses you use, keep it to yourself. Okay? You want to protect your child or whatever, no killing. But I don't go that far. Okay? Take whatever. There are on the market today, we tried with lizards. You can buy it online. You leave it, they don't like the smell. So they don't come. And then after about 2-3 weeks, they get used to it. So change the product. That one, they told me change the product. Yeah, so there are ways in which you can do, and everything is said and done. When the human being has gone away from this planet Earth, there'll be others will take place. We took the place of dinosaurs. They'll come back. All these buildings that we put up as ultra clean buildings will all become the property of termites. Okay, so live with it.
If we have to do it, then
My answer has always been, you find all of this and you don't want to do this, you have all these choices to make, that's because you are a layman. Become a monk. We will do the killing for them. About 40 years ago, Brickfields, that area is very much termite infested area. I think 100 years ago, it was jungle there. And so one morning, Chief's room is this one, Reverend Vimala Joji's room was the next one. He found the entire room, the walls were just covered with termites. Don't know what it is. Apparently it has to do with some season where their queen or something comes out. I don't know what it was. But the whole room was covered. So what to do? They had to call the pest control. Here's a temple, here are monks, here are this. That's one on the one side. On the other side, you can't say let them take over. So compromise. You don't want to compromise? No problem. Gain nirvana. You won't come back. That's the final answer, always. But as long as you are alive, you will be compromised. Minimize the compromise. That's all we can do. That's the best we can do. Until you come to a situation where the question doesn't arise anymore. Okay? It's very, very good to say don't kill, but your toddler is there and a snake is coming, all right? You can say shoo. Or what choice do you have? That's the compromise. And when we understand that, we understand the first noble eightfold path. Right understanding. These are all the compromises that I have to make in samsara. This is why I need to get out of samsara. Okay? And then when you become a monk, you be very, very careful. Chief Reverend, I remember, tells me even when he was a young boy of 10 or 11, he used to walk along the river in his village, and when he sees people, fishermen, leave fish on the side, too small, so they don't throw them back in the water, they keep them on the land. So Chief after school will go and pick them all up and throw them back. He was only about 10 or 11, late Chief. Okay, so.
next question.
I think the animal, they understand what we are trying to tell them, isn't it? Even the rats. Got one time my house, a lot of rats are coming through the manhole.
Oh, right. And?
A lot. So so my kaka want to use hot boiling water.
Right, cannot lah.
So I say don't do
Yeah.
that. So I called, I say, please go away. If not, if you don't want to go away, my kaka will pour hot water. If want hot water, still cannot tomorrow, I will buy the
Right.
So I said, please go away. Can you please go away? Then then tomorrow night they come again. Then my kaka said, also at the phone there shouted. I said, man, you say when you talk to them they will listen, but they never listen. Then I said, okay, you cakap sayang, you please,
Yeah.
you jangan marah mereka, you cakap sayang. So really you call them sayang. Then I said, hey, quick, my kakak ask you all to go away already. Then third night they will come back again. I don't know lah.
No, but I know I lived in Kelantan for many years, and rats come in where they store the rice, and rats come in there, and they find that when they scold or get angry, the activity gets worse. But mosquitoes, we do a lot of things to kill mosquitoes. In Sri Lanka, this I don't know whether it's true or not, but I was there when they did it. They say the mosquitoes come in about 5. When it starts getting dark, they close all the windows. All the windows and doors they close up to about 6:30. Apparently after that they don't come. Then they open and they say there are fewer mosquitoes in Sri Lanka. So there are many ways. Maybe you can burn cow dung, I heard. Is one way to keep mosquitoes away. Okay, so maybe there are things to discourage these so-called pests from coming. That's one way. Another way, when there's really no choice, then you have to call the pest control, because it's us versus them anyway.
But by doing that, my neighbor got upset with me. He said, you tell them not to come to your house. Then
Come
I
to
okay,
your house now?
They come to my house.
Yeah.
So they get quite upset with me. You should have killed them already. Why you ask them to go away?
No, like you kill them, they more come. How many you going to kill? You know. But this is where I think if you are cleaner, but then what you are talking about cleaner, all developed countries, this is a huge problem in New York. Yeah? Pests of all kinds. We just have to live with them, considering that we are pests ourselves. So maybe at the back of it all, a lot of regret. Okay, the story, this is a little line there. During the time of the Buddha, a prince and his wife, prince and princess, husband and wife, they couldn't get children. So they wanted to know why they couldn't get children. So what they did was they said, we will ask the Buddha. Buddha was coming for dana. Alright? And so what they did was they put white cloth. In Sri Lanka we do that, put the white cloth for the monks to walk. So the Buddha was supposed to walk. Said, if the Buddha walks on the white cloth, we will get a child. If the Buddha does not walk, we won't get it. To the sign. Buddha came and he avoided the white cloth. Okay, so they asked the Buddha why. What is it that is stopping it? The Buddha said, in a previous life, you both were stranded on an island. Yeah, there was a shipwreck. You both were stranded on an island, and you survived by eating the eggs. The bird's nest, you went to bird's nest, you took the eggs, and without remorse. That means without feeling sorry for it, because you felt it was your right. So because without remorse, you ate the egg, you killed a life, you cannot get children. The lesson I learned from that is, when you really have to do it, when you don't want to do it, you're really forcing yourself, no other option, then you do it. But if you find it as the easy way out and enjoy doing this, then you pay. Karma, remember, is not all one-to-one. Karma is always depending on your frame of mind, depending on your attitude. Two people can do the same wrong thing, but if their intentions are different, the karmic result is different. So if you act with compassion, you act with reluctance, you act with, so as Buddhists, most of us do that. We feel very bad doing this, but you have no choice. That is different from, I have a right to this universe, I'll kill whatever makes me uncomfortable, I don't care. The karmic repercussion is different.
So should we feel remorse every day when we eat chicken egg?
Don't eat chicken egg. Yeah, well, nowadays no lah. Now even Mahayana they eat egg because it's not fertilized, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we got those unfertilized eggs. It's not considered life. Okay, it's not considered life. But in the case of that, yes, fertilized eggs constitute life. So if you want to be that strict, Mahayana is the answer. But we don't. We take what we call middle path. Oh, yeah.
Really, I was just contributing. I thought this is, before my question, Uncle, you were supposed to tell us a story of this.
My sister, same thing. My sister was living, thank you. My sister was living in Gombak somewhere, all right? And it was at night, and she was alone. And she was watching TV. The door was open. She was living in a small terrace house, all right? And this snake comes in, and she's alone. She's terrified. At that time, she was about 70 years old, all right? And this snake comes black, cobra, came. And what my sister did, she stayed where she was, and she spoke to the snake and said, "Look, I'm alone. I'm frightened. I've got nothing here to give you. Please go away." And the fellow went away. He went. So maybe lost direction, no ways, or my sister told him to go away. Got a lot of stories of people talking to animals, and I think more it's the intention. I think they can communicate.
Okay, back to my question.
Yeah.
Since we're on the topic of karma, could you help to explain the difference between kusala
Ah.
and guna karma? Right? Because both are supposed to be wholesome
Yes.
actions.
Yes.
But on the other hand, there are differences.
Yes.
between the two.
Goes back to that one word, intention. Chetanaham bhikkave kammam vadami. Intention I declare is karma. So if you, without intention, the blind man walks on the road and steps on a rat, the rat dies, he is not guilty because there was no intention to kill. Okay? The kakak who pours the hot water has intention to kill. Okay? Now that's the first one. Now there are many types of intention. All intentions are guided by three steps. Lobha, dosa, moha. Three characteristics of all living beings, all human beings. Lobha is greed, aversion. Yeah, lobha, dosa, and delusion. Yeah, without knowledge, without understanding, that's moha. Because of that, we have anger, we have aversion, all right, and we have greed. So, with these three operating full swing, because we are not practicing Buddhist, yeah, we don't understand, we don't know, so we have a lot of anger, a lot of hatred. When with this intention, with this motivation, you act, that's karma. The result of that karma is negative, because you have negative motivation, negative result. On the other hand, you come into contact with the Dhamma, and in this case, killing the rat, but killing it very, very reluctantly. You see, the intention is different. Okay? Now, if the intention is full force, alobha, adosa, amoha. Yeah? no anger, no greed, and no stuff. Now, when you act with that, knowing that this is what's going to lead you to nirvana, you are acting with wisdom. That is called kusala karma. We don't have a concept of sin in Buddhism. Sin is God says don't do it, you do it anyway. That's sin. We don't have that concept because there's no God. Alright? What do we have? When you have no understanding of the teaching of the Buddha and you act with ignorance, yeah, you do actions. Okay? And these actions are detrimental to your journey, therefore unskillful. Not sinful, unskillful, stupid, sets you in the wrong direction. Those kinds of actions are called akusala, unskillful. On the other hand, listening to the Dhamma and getting some kind of understanding, we also act, but this time with beginning wisdom. And this kind of wisdom will lead you in the right direction to nirvana. This we call kusala. Kusala, skillful, actions which lead up. Akusala, unskillful, leads you down. Now, when you have kusala karma, you have to do it with the no I in mind. The whole purpose of all the actions you do is to destroy your ego, your sense of an I. Alright? So, but you are nowhere near there yet. You are doing a lot of good, but you do good hoping for a reward. You do this so that next life is a better life. Okay? And so on. So, when you do an action, the intention has an I involved. I am doing it. I expect a reward for my action. When I do all of this, it's good. I have done some good. But that good has a selfish, yeah, motivation. Now, because of that, it's good, you call it punya. Most other religions, they do good, so they go to heaven. Alright? But you are expecting a reward. You want to go to heaven. Alright? I want to go to heaven. That is called punya karma. It's good, but it is not the ultimate of destroying yourself. That is kusala karma. So, two types of good. Punya karma, doing good in expectation of a reward, with the understanding that there is an I. The same action, you do good, but you don't care about the result. In Buddhism, there is no giver, there is no receiver. There is only compassion. When that happens, the purpose of giving away all of these things is to destroy my ego, kusala karma. So you have punya karma, you have kusala karma. When you do wrong, akusala. Akusala is unskillful actions. Got that? So it goes back to the intention. Okay? So you have these three levels: kusala, akusala, punya. Okay? Then there's one more, papa. Papa is just wrongdoing without knowing it. Like, for example, a fisherman catches fish. You know, he's not doing really something really bad and sinful because the intention is not there. Intention is survival. He's guilty of papa. So many levels we have to look at.
So in the context of, like when people pass away, and then like a relative, the next of kin, decide to donate to a temple or to contribute to a publication, and it is done with the intention of hoping to somehow create good merits for the daily
Punya. That will be definitely punya, number one. And so the Buddha teaches at two levels. He teaches at the lokya, at the lokottara. The lokya is for short-term benefit. So my uncle has died, I want to do something good, therefore I give this donation, I give this, publish this book in his name, hoping he get it. It's all material benefits come into play, whether person is dead or not. All right. Now these are people who die expecting kinds of reward. But if I die without thinking of all of these things, I am pure. I go, I don't need your help. I don't need your help. And the Buddha says that too. Yeah, your relatives and your friends can only follow you to the grave. After that, you are on your own. Your only relative and friend after that is your karma. Your karma, not somebody else's karma. Okay, but at a lower level, you need to do all these things, because this is where institutional Buddhism comes into play and becomes so powerful. And one of the reasons why Buddhism became so popular, so big, so fast, was it attracted a lot of middle class, rich Malaysians. Okay, a lot of ready to buy good works, ready to buy.
So by donating to somebody, you will be kula.
Sorry?
Kusala karma.
Yeah. Now, okay. Let's take the what is at the back of our mind: donation to build a temple. All right. Now, when I give, number one, I say, I give this. I don't want anything in return. This money came to me because of my good karma. It's not mine. All right. I will part with it without regret. Number one. I know that when my money giving wisely, when my money goes here, the Dhamma can flourish. 2,500 years, Dhamma flourished because people had money. Don't forget that. Yeah? And so, wealth is not bad. Wealth is not sinful. Attachment is. So, you give for the right reason. My intention is for the propagation of Buddhism. When Buddhism is great, people are helped. I want to help. I want to be the agent that helps people. Okay. Kusala. I want to be. There's an I there. But this I has a higher motive in mind. But if I insist that you put on the doorstep where people, when they fall, they hit their head on your name, donated by, in memory of. How can you have a memory of somebody when you yourself don't know who the bloody fella is who died? You know, all this in memory of. All of this is ego. But if there is no, I haven't given this example for 30 years, I think, but it's like this. Picture kusala and akusala. Same scenario. It's raining very, very hard, and you're walking along the road, and you hear a sound. Meow, meow. You investigate, and you find a little kitten in the drain, wet, hungry, frightened. All right? And you pick up that kitten, you take it home, you make it nice and warm, and then you feed it, and then you make it nice and happy, and then you tell the kitten, okay, go, but before you leave, please sign this contract that when I die, yeah, I will be, this will be remembered, or you'll become a deva and you go, please, okay? So I give expecting a reward, and then I also say, Buddha, you watch, okay, I am expecting a reward. Exactly the same situation, same kitten. You go in there is suffering. Pick up the suffering cat. I do all the same thing, all right? My only compassion is to remove suffering. I do that, and then I leave the cat to go away, and I do not identify myself with my action of compassion. There is no doer, there is no receiver. That is the ideal. So I have this extra money, this is where I have decided it's going to go. These people need the money, I'm going to go because these will be the consequences. Okay. I have the same amount of money, I give it to an old folks home. They also need help. There will never come a time when people won't need help. So
On
it's
the
how.
other hand, if let's say that the people, for example, let's say somebody, we are collecting fund and we say that, oh, by donating 100,000, you get to put your name somewhere. So, are they also, encouraging ego?
Yes, of course. 100% we are guilty. So close your eyes and take the money. Because we have to survive, don't forget. That's why the Buddha talked on Lokiya terms. When Ananta Pindika built Jetavana monastery, he was a multi-millionaire. To buy the land, he had to cover the land with gold. Alright? Prince Jeta sold the land to Ananta Pindika. The Buddha did not say no. The Buddha did not say no. Buddha knew that with that, you'll have a place in which Buddhism can be propagated. We are beneficiaries of that action. You see? So, for Lokiya purposes, accept the money. If you are an Arahant, you won't be here anyway. You
What I'm saying is, you're saying that by putting the name is actually ego, but the organizer or the ego in charge actually encouraging the people say that, oh, because they want to encourage more people to donate. By donating 5,000, your name will be up there, so that more people will donate. So, is the organizing party also carry some back?
Semua terlibat. Semua terlibat. The only guy who is not affected by all of this is the guy who decides, I turn my back on all of this. I go into the jungle. Venerable Suwano is a good example. Yeah, I go into the jungle, I let everything go past me. You all want to build temples? Go and build temples. I don't care. I don't kill, don't steal, do good, avoid evil, I purify the mind. None of this needs a temple. None of this needs, yeah. But we can't, the majority of us can't do that. The majority of us will need temples. All the charity that we do in the name of Buddhism, yeah, all the Searchy people, yeah, you can't say they are wrong. Okay, but the institution called Buddhism, I don't think, if the Buddha came down today and looked at our fundraising accounts, he'll say, I told you this. Do good, avoid evil, purify the mind. That's all pure Buddhism is. Buddha knew the majority cannot do that. The majority will need the things that we are doing. And I'm now in my old age, I am the beneficiary of so much of goodwill, especially with the Chinese friends. I always tell my Sinhalese friends, you want to help the Chinese. Don't go and help the Sinhalese. They forget. Are you Sinhalese? Yeah. Yeah. Monkey wag like that, Pak. Yeah. But I'm saying, and where does it come from? Because Buddhism. Because the Buddha taught katanyuta. What is katanyuta? Gratitude. How do you translate a sense of gratitude? Yeah? None of these Chinese friends come to me and say, wow, you did a lot of good, you got enough, I won't help you. So I take back my kacang putih, I take back my pineapple. Okay, no. But you see, so in the creation, on the allowing the creation of the Sangha, the community of four, Bhikkhu, Bhikkhuni, Upasaka, Upasika. Now these two, Upasaka, Upasika, we created that institution called Buddhism. Nothing to do with the Buddha really. He just saw it happen, yeah, and he knew that there was a way of passing down the teaching. As long as we don't forget that the primary purpose of all our societies and all of that is to spread wisdom and knowledge. That's the first one. At the secondary level, whatever else you do. Okay? But to answer your question, is that the primary aim? No, it's a secondary aim. The primary aim is to make people into bodhisattvas. The primary aim is to help people attain nirvana. And for 2,500 years, that goal was never forgotten. In the process, making life as comfortable as possible in this samsaric world, seeking opportunities to destroy greed. Okay. So when we give for donations, we give all of this, that it's for a good cause. It is definitely for a good cause. Okay?
But Uncle Vijaya, why so many Buddhist society when they have event all this, they still announce so and so donate how much and present in a check and everything. That means it's wrong.
Of course it's wrong. It's wrong, but small w lah. It's wrong for a good purpose. Yeah, if you give this same money to support Donald Trump with his Republican Party, that is definitely wrong. That's sinfully wrong. Okay? But you notice I didn't use local example. Yeah.
Many questions.
No. That's what we are here for.
Vijaya is about the Sangha.
Yeah.
Just now you mentioned the 4 pairs of
Yeah.
and the 8 pairs of what is that?
That's different, completely different. In the organization called Buddhism, which started during the Buddha's time, the Buddha recognized there were 4 components. Bhikkhu, bhikkhuni, who dedicated their lives to the destruction of the ego. These are the monks, these are the nuns, and alright. Then you have lay people who are not that spiritually advanced. They are not like all of us. We are not ready to give up all of this. But we still want to follow the path at a worldly, mundane level. We are called Upasaka, Upasika. Okay? And this is in the organization of the institution. We need this 4-fold division. On the other hand, when you have gone on the spiritual path and gone on the completed the noble 8-fold path, then your sila, your samadhi, your panya. When you have done all of that, you do what we call crossing the stream. This side is samsara. Alright? The other side, you move from Puttujana to Arya. Puttujana, you and I, all the faults that we make and all that, we become noble. When we become noble, we get into 4 states of mind. 4 states of mind. Okay? Sotapanna, Sakadagami, Anagami, and Arahant. So these are the 4 levels of mental purity. We call it sainthood. Now that 4 has 2 steps. Steps is Magga and Phala. That means you get into the stream and immediately, it's a 2-step thing. 2-step thing. Meaning that at one step, you get into the river. The second step, you attain Arahanthood. Each of these levels. So 4 becomes 8. You see how we get the 8? Yeah. So, what is it? the fourfold, don't confuse it with these four. These are Magga and Pala, and they always come together. And they are called Arya Puggala. Arya Puggala means noble being, noble human being, Arya. Then you become Arahant. Then all these fall apart.
So, Uncle Vijaya, means the 4 pairs and the 8 pairs,
Yeah, four pairs, same.
is the state of mind.
Yes, Arahanthood is a state of mind. It is not a galaran, that's put on your head as Tan Sri.
It's
Next,
not the person.
yeah, it's what happens to, like the Buddha. Siddhartha Gautama became the Buddha, and there were no Las Vegas lights flashing and all that. It was a deep psychological transformation that took place. It was the same person. That is why people looked at him and, who are you? So they couldn't recognize. He wasn't flying around, like the statues show. Yes, sir. Don't worry. Yeah.
This one, it happens quite often over the years. Some Dhamma speakers, I think, from what I understand during the discourse, they have spoken something wrong, not correctly right about the Dhamma. And on all those occasions, even including myself, never question them. So, you think we should question them?
Yes. To be honest, yes. But depends on the ego of the person concerned. I have myself been scolded by monks for challenging them. Alright? Because, but that's one. On the other hand, there is a question of compassion. The person told you, you know that this is not really the right answer, yeah. But on the other hand, if you exposed him, you would humiliate him. Is it necessary? Will that person go, and really destroy the Dhamma? No. So your compassion, your wisdom must come into play. In my case, Chief didn't subscribe to this at all. When I'm giving a talk, he's sitting down there and says, "Where God?" Sorry. Please explain. And then that was the traditional way that they toughened the fellow. But people are just learning, especially, I mentioned in Cain. Cain was talking about karma one day in the brick fields, and this fellow challenged her and said, "You got no right to talk. You got no right to talk. Everybody dies, then there's nobody to teach." We have to see. Okay, and Cain is an excellent speaker. That's why I dare to mention her name. And even she kena.
Uncle Vijaya, if we don't only how to
After the talk lah. After the talk, take him to a corner.
but you see, if during the talk, you don't question the speaker, then the other
Will get the wrong, that's your responsibility lah. I would see who the person is. If I find that this person is a very egoistic person, thinks very full of himself, I'm brave to say, none of the Dhamma speakers in KL that I know today are like that. All of them are ready to be told, to be have a question pointed out. Okay, one. How the question is posed? When I challenge you, I don't say that you are wrong. I say I am wrong. I misunderstood. You said this, but Chief Reverend said this. When you say Chief Reverend, already cannot open your mouth already. You said this, but Chief Reverend said this, or Venerable Narada in the book says this. You must be sure of your facts, because if you are half cooked, it's not fair. All right. So it's how you approach the question without hurting somebody's ego. If somebody doesn't have an ego and gets hammered, then doesn't mind. No problem. I always, whenever I say I don't know, because there's so much to. I mean, 84,000 units of Buddhism. Yeah, I don't know. So I say I'll come back to you next week. Come back to you next week. And go and remember and say, oh, last week I said such and such. This is not what I should have said. This is what so and so approved of this. I always go back to the Sangha. By the way, for your information, Reverend Chandima, who's coming here, on the 8th, he's interviewing me at BGF. 1 hour interview on karma alone. It should be the other way around. I should interview him. But very good for my ego.
Sorry, okay. In Buddhism, there's no soul,
Yeah.
but there is consciousness.
Not that's wrongly put. You say in Buddhism there is no soul. There is no soul.
Okay.
Nothing. Yeah.
But there is consciousness,
Yes.
which maybe the identification of myself,
Yeah.
which is a function of your brain, your mind activity.
Yes.
Right? The activity creates
Yes.
that.
Yes.
Now the thing is, then why is it that if it's just an activity of the brain or an activity of the elements, how come, like for myself, I'm aware of myself here and I'm not there, you know? Or why is it that each of one of us seem to know themselves? I mean, if it's just like a, can I say this activity of the brain and mind or the elements of nature, it's kind of like a computer, like a machine, right? But why is it that then each machine thinks of themselves uniquely
Yes.
and not like I don't know,
Why can't they see the whole thing? Okay. The Buddha taught at two
why
levels.
am I in this body and not in that body?
Yes.
You know,
Yes, yes.
And vice versa.
Right. Right. Why am I separate? And why am I aware of a separateness between me and other?
Yeah, and in here and not in there.
Yeah.
In his body.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Buddha taught at two levels. To the monks, to Venerable Sariputta and so on, was a different level. That was the low Kotara level, the level where there is no I. Alright? But he knew, himself included, there is a body. There is a body that needs to be fed, that gets hungry, that falls sick. In the Buddha's case, there was a, and he alone suffered, the other guy didn't suffer because he was the Buddha. Okay? So the Buddha said, at a lower level, at a functional level, there is an I. There is an I at the functional level. But it is not an I, but an I. Okay? I'll tell you. Yeah, I'll tell you. I'll explain to you. Take a mirage. You're walking in the desert and you see water. Alright? You see water and you run after it and it keeps running. Okay? As long as you see the mirage, it is real insofar as that mirage is real. But somebody, an arahant comes and says, there is no water. There is no water. When with proper sight, you see a mirage, and then you know that there is no mirage there. Do you get that? So to the second person, to the arahant, he sees no mirage. But the Putujana sees a mirage. There is a mirage. So it is real to that extent only. It is real. So an I is real to the extent that there is this mirage of an I. In reality, the level of the Arahant, there is no I. When that mirage disappears, they use the example of the bubble of a lump of foam all right, a mirage and a plantain, a banana tree. At the center of it, there is nothing, but there is only a skin. So, in your consciousness, you see an eye, okay? But because you are not an arahant yet, you see this eye as something real, something I, as opposed to him. All right, and that dichotomy is the result of your ignorance. Ignorance here is not a bad thing. It's a situation where all putujanas, all of us, we are in that same boat. Okay, but once we see, we gain enlightenment and go to the other side, we don't see anything there. When the Buddha 35, up to the time he was 35 years old, he saw an eye. Enlightenment, he doesn't see an eye. From that time onwards, he never referred to himself as I. He always calls himself the Tathagata.
But if you get enlightened, who gets enlightened then?
Ah, good question.
Because if there's
Good
no
question.
I,
Yeah.
then I'm not the one getting
Right.
Who's
He-
behind me?
yeah. This thing that I mistake for an I is what is sustaining me. So I must, the Buddha, Bodhisattva, you start with an I to destroy the I. That is the only mechanism I have, my mind,
Then
my
what's
conscious.
left?
Sorry?
Okay, so if you destroy the I and going on is like, if you stop rebirth, for example, you don't get reborn. Let's say you reach that level, you stop rebirth. If you don't get rebirth, means there's no brain, there's no mind, there's no consciousness, because, right? It stops there.
Yeah.
Then
No
what's
brain,
left?
no brain, no mind. Notice all are convenient words we use to describe this phenomenon. When this phenomenon, with its ignorance, sees an I, sees a consciousness, it is trapped to that extent in this body. But when your consciousness has achieved that level where you see through this, then there is no more brain, there is no more body, there's no more blood, there is no more. Because you saw through it all.
But your consciousness is actually an outcome of your brain activity.
Sorry?
Your consciousness is an outcome of your own brain activity. It needs the brain, it needs the processor to move
Yes.
for the conscious to stop.
Yes.
If you stop that, and it's simply you stop the rebirth as well, so spiritually as well, you stop that thing completely, there'll be no more consciousness.
No more.
So there'll be nothing to look at.
Yes. Yes, I'm answering yes to all your questions. Because then it's not nothing. It's not nothing, it's no thing. No thing. See, it's thing like brain, body, self, all of these disappear in one flash.
Yeah, it disappeared, that's what's left.
What's left is what's left after the mirage goes off.
That's it.
Okay, take a flame. Take a flame. The flame is burning. Why is the flame a very good example, sir? The flame is burning because three conditions come together. The wick, the wax, and the wicks, the wax, and the oxygen. Yeah, wick, wax, and oxygen. Okay, so the flame is burning. Now, it's because of these three conditions. Now, remove the wax, remove the wick, remove the three conditions. What happens to the flame?
God.
Where does it go?
Six crises.
It never, even what we call a flame is a, what do you call it, is an illusion. Why? Because what we call a flame is nothing more than points of light. Points of light. So these points of light cease. Why do they cease? Because these conditions have ceased. Now, when all these conditions have ceased and the flame disappears, where does the flame go? It doesn't go anywhere because it was not there anyway.
Okay, but if that's the case, then can I say something? Are we not trying to achieve, let's say, that spiritual suicide? We are just ending it, right?
Sorry, I didn't get you.
Are we trying to achieve spiritual suicide?
Spiritual,
Committing
yes.
suicide,
Yes. The Buddha committed suicide at the age of 35.
Yeah, so
You see, all these negative words that we are using is what we need in Buddhism, is what we accept.
I know. So what I'm trying to say is that basically we are not achieving peace or happiness or peace. We are actually just stopping it permanently.
From your materialist point of view, there is a loss.
Yeah.
From the Buddha's point of view, that materialistic standpoint, it disappears. The result is freedom,
But it's
happiness, because you're no longer caught with this.
freedom or happiness is if you are still there, but you get happiness or freedom. But if you end, it's actually nothing. It's not happiness.
Take-
it's not
From
freedom,
a
it is
Putujana point of view, it is an end of, it's a loss. From a Buddhist point of view,
loss. It's ends.
end is a negative word.
If you are like people who commit suicide, the normal sense of committing suicide,
Yeah.
they are suffering so badly that they want to end it.
Yeah.
So they end it. They don't get happiness from anything, right? They end their suffering, but they also don't get happiness from anything. Just end, right? I mean that's
That's
normal
one
sense,
kind of end.
normal
That's
sense,
one kind of end.
So wouldn't this kind of nirvana on the even longer
Cannot be
sense,
equated that. Cannot be
is
equated.
the ending of it spiritual as well?
The word end there, two different meanings. What the Buddha ended was not what the suicide guy ended. See? When we are talking, so this is a good end, that's a bad end. Okay? So it's very important that I'm allowing this, because that's why it was so difficult for people to accept this new thing, because for centuries in India they were working with an ego, they were talking of a soul, and here the Buddha comes and tries to teach it. In fact, he didn't want to teach. At the beginning he didn't want, he said people won't understand, it's a waste of time. Okay, lucky he saw you in somebody and said there's a little dust in their eyes. But sir, this can go on. This can go on. Now you have to start working on your own question. Yeah. What is the end? The meaning of end? What ends? What is I? Yeah. And where does this I come from? Yeah. That flame. I think that work on the flame. When to me it helps a lot. When all of these conditions are gone, the flame doesn't go anywhere. The flame never was. And now the reality manifests itself. There's nothing there.
Actually, the suicide case that you mentioned is still clinging to
Yeah.
non-existence. So whereas Buddha's,
I'm just trying to use a
there's no
layman
Yeah.
term for
clinging anymore.
suicide. I'm
Mm.
talking about maybe spiritual suicide, not body suicide.
If
Spiritual suicide.
spiritual
When you
suicide,
stop
I
your
think
rebirth,
I would accept that.
right? You stop your rebirth, you do not continue getting
Yeah.
reborn anywhere
Yeah.
else. You stop, and you stop your rebirth, there'll be no more body, no more brain, no more mind.
Yes.
So no more elements that will form.
Yes, can come back together.
So you will not be conscious.
Yes.
Right? So there'll be no more you.
Mm.
So you're not getting peace or happiness, you are getting blank.
It's actually liberation. It's not like
Yeah.
being
It's liberation.
liberated from
Yeah.
samsaric
Yeah.
existence.
And all the words that you are using in a negative sense, see it in a positive sense. Spiritual suicide? Yes. Spiritual extinction? Yes. Okay? But is it undesirable? No. That's the difference between this
That's
side
where
and that
I'm
side.
trying to get back.
Yeah.
little more understand is where, what's after that. So what's behind
No thing. After that is no thing. And the Buddha wants you, don't try even to try and replicate that with our Putuja. When you become an Arahant, the Arahant's vision, the Arahant's understanding, totally different from whatever because we only have language. We only have language, we only have words, we have concepts. And all of these don't point to this nothingness that the Buddha is talking about. Okay? So only a blind man, a man has been born blind. He comes and asks you, sir, what is blue? I hear you guys talking about blue. Can you ever explain the color blue to a man born blind? He cannot turn around and say there's no such thing. We know there is such a thing, but we don't have the language because we are the story of the fish and the tortoise? The fish and the tortoise. The fish lives in the water, the tortoise also lives in the water. One day, the tortoise disappeared. When he came back after 4 days, the fish asked him, where have you been? He said, I went to the land. Fish said, what do you mean by land? Land lah. Then he said, look, you ask me questions, I will say yes or no. Okay. Land is wet. No. Land is hard, soft. No. You can go through the wet. No. Land is cold. No. Come on, brother. Everything I say, you say no. There is no such thing as land. Then the tortoise said, brother, I have two experiences, land and water. You only have one. We don't have the common language to teach about. The Taoists have the same problem explaining the Tao. Lao Tzu said, the Tao which can be talked about is not the Tao. The nameless is the Tao. The named is the mother of 10,000 things. Meaning language is not the tool with which we can use. So you have to gain enlightenment yourself, understand it yourself. Don't waste your time explaining to me because I won't understand.
This is just like people read a lot, those they don't meditate, but they read a lot about non-self. But when you meditate, with the full concentration with what you experience is actually different. You cannot explain through words.
Exactly. The experiences cannot be explained in words. You can only another person has to experience it himself.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. What are we for time?
We are 11:40. We can go to 12.
Ask me now. Okay. I'm getting excited. Yes, sir.
No, actually, I just want to share. I read about Anatta, how to understand this from Ajahn Chah. He said that if we try to understand Anatta through
Intellectually.
our head will explode.
Yeah. There are certain things the Buddha said, don't waste your time. And only yesterday we were talking about this. When I will die, how I will die, where I will die, where I will be reborn. These 4 questions, don't waste your time asking. It's very profound. Very profound. Similarly, question of this, while we need to ask this question, okay, we can never adequately answer it. So,
to bring to the question a few steps, right? So what constitutes our individualism?
Our ignorance, which creates a self based on the consciousness, vijnana. Our consciousness is the problem. It's our consciousness that brings all these things together, all right, and creates an illusion of an I.
So what attracts our consciousness to this rupa?
six-sense door.
Is it our karma?
Not our karma. Well, our karma is at the back of everything. It's because of our karma that we were reborn into this part of samsara. Okay, on the one hand, but when I am born, when I am conceived, all right, my previous consciousness, bringing with it my thoughts of an I, the skandhas, yeah, right? These come together at the moment of conception. Then a new being has been born. This one is dying, and from that death it becomes a new being, and that new being already carries with it the consciousness of an I. The ignorance comes on. Then the five senses come about. Then in the new life, with the five senses, I continue to create the I. Okay? Until I come into contact with the Buddha's teaching, as I very importantly come into contact with meditation. And it is through meditation, without words, all right, I break through the I. Okay? I break out. Once that happens, then I've attained nirvana. I don't carry an I with me. Okay?
So through meditation, you break through everything. You see non-self, impermanent suffering, and all that. But when that's someone, especially who has very, who actually cultivated the mind a lot, very highly, when sickness actually strike them, or when they're out for retreat and all that, sometimes they also feel depressed when they're really sick. You see.
Yes.
So people will tend to have high regards towards these people. Hey, she actually cultivated her mind so much. How come she's still so depressed when she's sick? So my answer to these people is they are not arahants. So when they're out from meditation, they're still Buddha jhana. But
Yeah, but they are closer. They are in a better position to understand.
yes.
Yeah, unlike us.
So it's normal for them to be depressed when they are sick because they are not arahants.
Absolutely.
Right? Even monks, they do
You
feel
ans-
sad when
yes,
their mothers
definitely.
When their mother died.
Yes, yes. Especially when it's happening to yourself. I know so many people my age group, all going through the same thing. Why me? But they did so much of good. They they meditated, they did everything. But when it actually comes to the crunch, that's why we are having this discussion. That comes to the crunch, we cannot get rid of this I. How can you say I got no I? So all the talk that I was giving you was theoretical.
Exactly.
I only talked about it. I don't talk from,
Can I extend a bit further? In the end, if again we reach nirvana,
Yeah.
and there, can a new I be created
No.
again?
No.
Because
No.
if I can end it, it means I have been created
No.
somewhere before.
No.
I don't know
No.
how. Can it not be
Okay.
part of the universe?
Answer the same question.
Can no consciousness be created?
I answer you this question.
Bingo, I'm back here.
Yeah. Wait. The mirage. Now this man who can see, the mirage has gone. Another mirage can be seen, but it's not the same mirage. It's a completely different nothing. This mirage has gone. Other conditions give rise to another, but there are other conditions.
So another I can be created, but it's not.
We don't know that. But as far as we know, in the samsaric world, there is no new beings being created. They are just being recycled. I don't know whether in Buddhism we have the concept of new eyes being created.
Because where did they come from? The first
Huh?
place?
They came from a previous birth.
And then, wait, you say there's no end, but now there is an end. So if there is an end, there's
Not necessary to have a beginning. Why should an end be followed by a beginning?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. You have a cycle. You have a circle. All right. And
Where's the beginning?
where's the beginning? And if that circle, okay, here's a light, goes round and round, you get an illusion of a circle. All right. You know it's an illusion because it's points of light. All right. Now stop that. When it stops there, where does the circle go? It never went anywhere because it wasn't there in the first place.
I know.
And then to ask,
I say-
can there be another circle? It's a pointless question.
A new illusion he created because
That's-
somebody started that moving point of light last time. That's why we exist. We stopped that moving point of light.
No, the Buddha has an answer to that. Anamatagga. Anamatagga is the beginning is you cannot know the beginning. You cannot know, unless you are a Buddha. Because the egg and the hen, which came first, the egg or the hen, you can go on forever.
Then you go crazy. You just
Yeah, and then you talk about another hen, that's a waste of time, lah. You see? So, we have to go back to, at the end of the day, meditation. It's only when you meditate you will understand this. You will begin to see. Okay? Sure.